song. Normally we would be able to, do the special reading from the Torah and have this really fun trope that is only once a year, but we don't have that opportunity tonight, so we are going to fill in all of that music with some exciting and unusual music than a little more unusual than we normally have. I'm sure that Courtney will share with us why she chose what she did if she'd like. But I'm looking forward to it. And we have our rabbinic intern Grant, who will be offering up our words for the Devar Torah, and hopefully we'll all have something to think about. So with that, we'll begin. Rabbi Sobo?
טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד How good it is, how good it is How sweet it is to be together on this day How good it is How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is! How good it is! How sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine ma tov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Hit participants.
Havana Shira Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah. Havana shira, 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 shir hallelujah. Havana shira, shir hallelujah. Havana shira, shir hallelujah, 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 shir hallelujah. Havana shira, shir hallelujah. Havana shira, shir hallelujah. Havana shira, Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah.
And as Rabbi mentioned, it is Shabbat Shirah. So my thought was for this Shabbat to celebrate songs that celebrate singing and celebrate music and also celebrate women. And as you will see, we plugged in a lot of female composers and contemporary composers just to lift up the voices of women on this Shabbat Shirah. Shirul Adonai kol haaretz, Shirul Adonai shir chadash, Shirul Adonai kol haaretz, Shirul Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shirul Adonai kol haaretz, Shirul Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. I invite those of you who have your candles to join me in the candle blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Yalla la 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 lecha dodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad yishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemu tiferet v'letfilah. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha merosh midedem besucha sof maaseh b'machshava tefila. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi, yalla la 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 לפני שבת לפני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי בעורך אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עליך נגלה יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 לפני שבת לפני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה וגדולה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 לפני שבת לפני שבת נקבלה
שלום עליכם מלכי השרת מלכי העליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי העליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי העליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאנכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי העליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא יתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברכותיו ימליך מלכותיו בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך להלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח יתבהר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי תקודשה בריחו תהילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen.
We now ask that you please rise if you are able for the Baruch Hu. Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Le'olam Ba'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Now and forever.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach sha'arim, uvitmona mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hachochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzevaot shemo, el chai v'chayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot. Day and night will we reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. O may your love never depart from our hearts. Blessed are you, Adonai. You love your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lektecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'chumecha ug'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem emet. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף נורא תהילות אוסף Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Yai nai nai yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף נורא תהילות אוסף Who is like you? One more time. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 nai
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. V'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Baruch atah Adonai haparei sukat shalom aleinu ve'el kol amo Yisrael.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat Mikadishe Shevi Shabbat Kulam Yisperu Vayitagu Metu Bekashabat Yismechu Bemalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat Yismechu Bemalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat Uvashvi'i Ratzita bo Vekidashto Shabbat Chemdat Yamim Oto Kerata Shabbat Yismechu Bemalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat Yismechu Bemalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat Zecher Lemase Bereshit Shabbat Zecher Lemase Bereshit Shabbat Yismechu Bemalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat Yismechu Bemalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Bekore Oneg Shabbat.
We'll ask those who are able to please rise. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agiteilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Komel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imaot U'Mevi Geola Libnei Bneihem L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Hoseh U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'Zerat Sarah אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מחלקי החיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר, ביחמוך ועל גבורות, ומידו מלך. מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. You may be seated.
We join together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, ve'hamcha Yisrael, u'tefilhatam, ve'ahava tekabel, u'tehil ratzon tamid, u'tehil ratzon tamid, Avodat Yisrael Hamecha. Baruch atah Adonai, shehotecha levadecha v'yira navod. Shehotecha levadecha v'yira
God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us, and for all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lechodot. We now take a moment for our own silent reflections, the prayers of our heart.
Usei shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. In our Torah portion this week, Bishalach, we read about the wondrous miracle of the Red Sea parting and the Israelites fleeing the Egyptians. After crossing the sea, the Israelites were so happy that they sang songs of praise to God. However, afterward they started to worry about their ability to survive in the desert on their own. Would God continue to sustain them beyond this enormous miracle? In chapter 16, verses 7 and 8, Moses addresses the Israelites' concerns and tells them that come evening, they will know that it is Adonai who performed the miracle of the sea, as God will provide meat in the evening and bread in the morning. To this he adds, because Adonai has heard your grumblings against the Lord, for who are we that you should grumble against us? He doubles down on this idea in the next verse when he reiterates, what is our part? Your grumbling is not against us, but against Adonai. When I first read this, I interpreted it as Moses is essentially saying, don't shoot the messenger. But was Moses throwing blame away from himself? Was he shirking responsibility for his role in their current situation? Wasn't he the one who had gotten them into this mess by demanding that Pharaoh let the Israelites go? It isn't hard for us to imagine a situation such as this. There are countless examples of when a leader brings their people into a precarious situation, but doesn't want to take responsibility for what happens next. It can be something as simple as going on a hike with some friends and getting lost on the trail. Nobody wants to be blamed for getting lost. Regardless, after I sat down with the text some more, I realized I was too quick to judge Moses' leadership skills. As many rabbinic commentators have written, Moses was merely saying that it was God's wondrous power that brought us out of Egypt, and he is the one that is taking care of the Israelites and giving them the resources they needed. In his medieval commentary, Sforno reframes what was happening. He said the intention was that you will realize from God's reaction, that your complaints are not addressed to Moses, or should not have been addressed to Moses, but to God himself. Moreover, by providing, God has demonstrated that he has heard your complaints. By telling the Israelites, this is not up to me, but up to God, Moses tried to give credit where credit was due. He had to teach the Israelites that when they complain about their situation, they are complaining to God. They needed to have more faith. Even though the Israelites got proof of God's power when they saw the Egyptian army floating in the sea, they did not know being a free people meant that God would watch over them in the harsh conditions of the desert. Instead, out of fear, they complained to God, and as Rashi points out, causes others to join in the grumbling, inciting fear and doubt. Moses had to remind them to put their faith in God and to begin to look at themselves for the things, for the things that the Egyptians once provided. So Moses wasn't shirking his responsibility in his response. He was showing humility and faith in God, some of his greatest traits. This is a situation where my father would probably say there are 3 sides to every story. One side, the other side, and the truth. But here there is also a 4th variable that isn't so obvious, the idea of multiple truths. From God's perspective, he just made this grandiose miracle happen and freed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. Shouldn't they be constantly praising him? From Moses' perspective, he followed God's instructions and was still getting an earful from the Israelites, putting him in a precarious situation. He is the middleman taking the brunt of all things thrown at him. He was just trying to do what was commanded of him and free the Israelites from slavery. And the Israelites are extremely scared of what is yet to come. They are afraid of the unknown. They are, of course, happy to no longer be slaves, but they did not have their basic needs met until God stepped in. Before that, they did not know how they were going to survive. They needed food and water. Fortunately, God graciously gave them food and water, but they needed to understand that they couldn't just point fingers. They needed to be responsible for themselves and for their families. They needed to respect the gifts that they were given and be thankful for them and not abuse them. The Israelites still needed to gather the food that was supplied for them and do it exactly as God instructed. No more, no less. They couldn't be greedy. They could not be greedy or it would spoil. When done correctly, every one of the Israelites had plenty of food and water to survive the harsh conditions of the desert with God's help. As they learned to do this together with the food they collected, they gathered more and more proof to convince them not to worry and to stop grumbling. Maybe the Israelites just needed more time to see that learning and making responsible choices was not a burden, but a gift, because it gives us agency in our lives. But at this point, they only complained because their faith in God was in its infancy. They learned to gather food, but knew that they couldn't do it without God providing it for them. They were not ready for complete responsibility of their survival, yet they had to start on the right path and would soon see how wonderful life could be as a free people, even with their responsibilities. God would help them find everything that they needed to survive and live their lives to the fullest. They would just need to take control of what they could and do their part. Isn't that a lesson we can all use a refresher in? We are all currently living in a very harsh climate. Granted, with different challenges than a desert, but the same principles still do apply. So, what can we do to try and find balance with this responsibility? We can stop complaining and take on more responsibility for our own needs. We can learn and understand any given situation to the best of our abilities, whether it's learning the newest updates about vaccines being rolled out, figuring out what's wrong with our cars when check engine lights come on, helping figure out a conflict between friends, or suggesting a solution to an elected official when dissatisfied with the status quo. The list goes on and on. We could also do a better job of giving credit where credit is due, to remind ourselves that we can expect more of ourselves, All around us, people are doing amazing things to help our community. Keep your eyes peeled for those of us who are checking in on one another. And if you're able, find ways to help their efforts. It could be as simple as making a phone call to a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, or making a meal to help them meet their basic needs. Have faith that what you are doing matters and it is making a difference. Like Stephen Schwartz wrote about this very parsha in his lyrics, "When you believe, who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, somehow you will, when you believe." And last, we can stop expecting God to do everything for us. This reminds me of a story about a man trapped on an island with little food and water. He would pray every day to God to save him from the island. A couple days after being on shore, a man with a canoe showed up. He said, "Hey, do you want to get off this island and have passage to land?" He said, "No, my God will save me." So we prayed for another couple days, and then a man on a rescue boat came, asking the same question if he wanted to get rescued, and he responded again, "No, my God will save me." So the man on the rescue boat left. After a couple more days of praying to God to save him from this island, a yacht came onto the shore of the island, again extending the favor. "Hey, would you like to be free from this island?" And again he responded, "No, my God will save me." Sadly, a couple days later, all the drinkable water and food was gone on the island, and the man had died. When he had the opportunity to ask God, "Why did you not save me from the island?" God responded, "What do you mean? I sent you a canoe, a rescue boat, and a yacht. What more do you want from me?" We don't want to be like this man who never took responsibility for his own life, or using the resources that were in front of him to help himself survive. We all must know when to take responsibility of our actions and use the opportunities, our boats, that are given to us, and know when we need to work for ourselves. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Grant, for for reminding us of all sorts of things in that, especially that imagery of the water, because, being Shabbat Shirah, it's important that I'm thinking about the dry ground, but also then the idea of a boat makes it very interesting. So thank you. It was great. At this time, we call to mind those in our community who are in need of our prayers and our reflections, and we offer them strength at this time. In particular, we call to mind Jenny Curtis, Rivka Bat Avraham Vasara, Marilyn Cummings, Dee Shaw, Sherry Alpert, William Rossi, Estelle Noriega, Rosalind Moss, Tom Brown, Jeanette Patton, Charla Davison Gates, Tyler Zeisloft, Pat Bloom, Ronald Epstein, Linda Weprin, Deborah Seidel, James Hockman, Judith Perlman, Lorna Kundert, Jan Berman, Melinda Glovka, Helen Fine, Jeremy Wise, Ed Bulin, Christine Wagner, Tracy Huddleston, Joe McKenna, Ellen Goodrich, Mark Romanowski, Jerry McDonald, Richard Lieberman, Joel Pinsker, Marty Sacker, Laura Holtzinger-Levin, Avraham Ben Avraham Vasara, Bob and Gert Kahn, Dave Bussey, Ron Levine, Jay Bainbridge, Chelsea Smith, Shava Eta, and Rory Freisler. Mishaberach Avotenu v'imotenu, Mishivarech v'yarpeh et acholim. May the one who has blessed and healed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, continue to bring strength to our loved ones and to heal them in their time of need. Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. Blessed are you, O God, who brings healing to those in need of healing. We join together for Mishaberach.
Yishberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Yishberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with the vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mishaberach Avotenu, Mishaberach Imotenu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Ask those who are able to please rise and join me with Aleinu. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated.
At this time, we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us, those whom death has recently taken from us. In particular, we recall that we are in a period of shloshim for Marilyn Ruth Caden, Elaine S. Dickstein, Audrey S. Margolis, and Michael Belcher. We also remember those who have died at this season in years past. Arthur Abramson, Alan Barrar, Etta Block, P. Irving Bloom, Dorothy Brawford, Rosalind Kaplan, Louis Carney, Gerald Caruso, Samuel Dubrow, Emma V. Field, Leo Friedlander, Frida Garfunkel, Sarah Gaskowitz, Mary Golden, Ruth Goldenberg, Oscar Green, Betty Greenberg, Celia Handel, Walter Claren, Louis J. Klein, Joseph Coor, Sam Levin, Francis M. Levy, Arthur Lotney, Samuel Marcus, Molly Mayerson, Michael F. Novak, Cynthia Parnas, Jeanette Perkins, Sarah B. Phillips, Thomas Plout, Samuel W. Posner, Bell Press, Wilma Rakitin, Hyman H. Ran, Rose Rosenthal, Cora Sachs, Jenny C. Sapensley, Martha Schreiber, William T. Schultz, Ruth Seawald, Abe Semmelman, Anna Solko, Matilda Sperling, Sarah Sternberg, Ann Wiseman, Harry S. Weiner, and George Zinner. And of course, those who we now mention in our heart, or perhaps pronounced differently or correctly. I invite you, if you are remembering or in mourning, to please rise first. And then we as a community will rise together as we express our support and our faith through the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiyutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei Dekudsha Barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, huya asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zirkonam livracha, may their memories always and only be for a blessing.
Invite those of you who have a bit of fruit of the vine to grab your cup and join me with our Shabbat Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'rotzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'ma'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'chata, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'v'ratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat l'chaim. L'chaim.
And Scott has once again made a beautiful challah. His challah baking and as we would say, what is this, braiding skills are really getting much better. Look, everybody, I like to give him credit when it's due. So we're very happy about that. And Jonah's here to help me with leading the blessing over.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
I
you
just
are.
read.
The challah. Well, then you have to pray. Come on. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. B'te'avon. It is delicious.
Yes, she did.
And Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please feel free to unmute yourself and wish your friends and neighbors a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.